Hello guys, today let's look at my custom settings and after we shall look at the FIFA tricks, so enjoy the tutorial. The formation I use the 4-3-3 attack. Why I like this formation, it's because of that cam. He joins the striker in the attack and also helps the wingers. And in this formation they attack in 4-4-2, the two wingers who cut inside the box and give you more players and score goals. Then midfielders, if one CM attack, then one have to stay back automatically, this way you can defend counter-attacks. But this formation is so attacking so carefully about counter-attacks. So without wasting time, let's look at the tactics. Defense style, I go for press after possession loss. Why? Pressing in FIFA 23 is so effective, and every time I lose the ball I try hard as possible to press and win it immediately. This way I score easy goals. If the opponent loses the ball in his half, it's a big advantage for to score an easy goal. Width, I set it on 45 and depth it's 65. It's because of that high pressing, lose the ball and press immediately. Build up playstyle, I go for balanced. Here you can at least some time hold the ball. If you go for fast build up, your teammates will always run forward every time you get the ball. This leaves you with no passing options. Chance creation, I go for direct passing, because I can send my players forward manually if I want. Then width, I go for 38. Players in the box, I go for 5 bars. Why? Crosses, headers in this game are so overpowered. The free kicks, it's 1. Then instructions, both fullbacks I leave them on balance. I don't like stay back while attacking. I leave them unbalanced and overlap, and sometimes they join attack, and this helps to break the opponent easily by utilizing the wing area. Both CEMS I leave them as they are. The cam I instruct him to drift wide. I like to stretch the opponent through the wing area, so he helps me a lot to create that passing option every time I need in some situations. Striker I put on stay forward. Here he's always available for counter-attacks. The two wingers I instruct them to enter the box for cross. So that's the custom tactics. Now let's jump on the defense tricks. This technique is a little bit risky, but you can use it to play on the opponent's mind. So you jockey with player to a certain direction, but you don't commit to it, then you immediately pull him back, especially during one-on-one scenarios. So your opponent thinks that you're committing to a certain direction, but you surprise him by pulling back. Its advantages: 1 is that you can force your opponent to react to your movements. And if someone is just reacting when he's the one attacking, is a big disadvantage to his side. His mind won't be as creative as much compared to someone who is controlling the tempo of the game. To break any opponent on FIFA, you have to be steps ahead, and being steps ahead you have to be the one taking control of the game and your opponent reacts. But this trick changes to the opposite way. For example, here I anticipate my opponent passing to his striker. I immediately switch to my center back. So by the moment when the pass is released, I'm already pulling back my defender. Then by the time he's receiving the ball and pushing my defender back, he turned into my defender and I take the ball. So why did he turn into pressure like that? When I pulled away my defender, the opponent thought that he has some space in front to either turn and dribble or take a dribble shot. But he was surprised that my player is still available. The next advantage is that you can kill the opponent's ego, especially when he's a skiller. So for example, this opponent, he tested his skill moves and I noticed that he might be good at skill moves. So the next time I approached his dribbler with this technique and I take the ball away. But you see, it's a risky technique. I sacrifice this space because I know my opponent is skiller, and he was spamming skilled moves every time he was dribbling with his best dribblers. I used this trick against him, winning the ball every time, and this negatively affected his mentality. So he started feeling uncomfortable using skill moves, and instead he just pass, or even rushing things and playing safe basic football. And importantly, don't just pull away your defender without purpose. You have to do it, for example, like closing the passing lane then immediately press. You jockey to the available pass then you press the ball holder, or you close up space then you press, or maybe you can combine both strategies at once. If you master these two strategies, using this technique will improve your defense. Reading the first touch in FIFA 23 is very crucial since the players tend to receive the ball very slow, so the trick of fake first touch in FIFA 23 is not as much effective as it was in the past FIFA series. So how do we read the first touch? We anticipate the opponent's available options like pass and space. Like here, my opponent passed to his player Gabriel Jesus. I immediately scan and I see his available passing options this side. So I jockey diagonally with my defender to the direction I anticipate him to take his first touch. He turned looking to pass and I take away the ball. Then another example, my opponent passes and is about to receive the ball. I don't expect him to take his first touch to this direction because of the second man press and the crowded area. I think that he have to take it into this space. I jockey diagonally to the direction I expect his turn and I win the ball. We move our defender diagonally to press his player and at the same time cutting the passing lane or closing up space. Beginning on how we can cut the through pass to the runner, FIFA 23 counter-attack football is overpowered and through balls are extremely abused. If you can defend through passes in this FIFA series, then you can reduce on the numbers of goals you concede. So that moment when the opponent triggers his player to run forward and he looks for perfect moment to execute the pass, here as the defender you switch to your player immediately and track the runner. But how do we track the runner? The logic is simple, you have to position your defender near the opponent's running player, but at the moment the player is running faster and even faster than your defender, so you have to first create a gap between the running player and your defender. After you hold the speed jockey, L2 plus R2, on PlayStation, or LT plus RT, on Xbox. Then position your defender near the opponent's running player. But importantly you have to know that the running players tend to change their running course to try and create a gap for the pass. So don't stick to one position with your defender, you have to follow the running player. By doing so you vision how the pass will be released at the moment, then you use the push and pull technique we discussed in the last video. This technique you can react quickly to any movement, so the video link is in the description. A lot of players make this mistake when defending through pass. Here at the moment he should run first to create a momentum, then jockey to the runner to close up the gap. But instead he was focusing on the runner on the wing and this costed him a silly goal. So look at the same scenario but how I defended this pass. I first run to create a gap, then I speed jockey near the opponent's player to close the pass gap. Good defenders use their center backs at the best moments to stop the opponent's attack, so let's see how you can also implement this trick into your gameplay, so they use center backs in these scenarios. 1. To cut the pass inside the box. We all build up from the wing and mainly if we don't get the pass to the bar line, we tend to cut back and find any available player inside the box. So here the trick is to close this pass. How? We make sure that we first close the opponent's way to the bar line with our fullback or any available defender. Using the right stick switch you immediately switch to the nearest player in the box and usually center backs. So you run with your defender diagonally towards the open player and position your defender there. A lot of the players will pass and you intercept the pass. Then the next scenario is to cut the passing lane to the opponent's striker. A lot of players like to find their strikers when they are building up, and especially if your opponent attacks oftenly through the middle area. So here you switch to your center back using the right stick switch, and here I recommend you to jockey. If you jockey you can react to the AI movements. They tend to run in behind if you mark them, so you speed jockey and position your player in the passing lane, or near the opponent's player. If your opponent passes then you will get the ball and he will wonder how it happened. Importantly don't use this trick high up the pitch, especially near the center. The third trick, to close up the running player. As I told you, if you mark the opponent's player especially high up the pitch, they tend to run in behind for through pass, so here I created a gap for him to run in behind. But I immediately switched to my other center back and start closing up the runner. The opponent passed and I take the ball. Even here the same mistake, after I mark the AI, immediately his players start running in behind but I switch quickly to my other center back and close up the gap. Again the same scenario but for me this is just a trap. I bait my opponents into making these through passes which I win every time. I intentionally mark his player because I know he will run in behind. So every time I switch immediately to my other defender I close up the runner and I always win the ball. So it's a standard trick but you have to use it when you mastered how to switch to your other center back quickly using the right stick switch.